Hey there film fans, and welcome to Craig's Film Reviews. It's a channel of film reviews, short films and funny little drawings by me, Craig. That's me, there with the beard. So, let's review some films. Hey film fans, you're watching Craig's Film Reviews, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. I'm here with my protege, if you call, my Padawan learner. So he's the Obi-Wan to my Qui-Gon, my Robin to my Batman, and my PC Danny Butterman to my Nicholas Angel. That would have worked better if I remembered the characters now.
That would have done, yeah. But
it is Butterman, isn't it?
It is Butterman, yeah. Frank Butterman,
PC,
yeah.
Danny, yeah.
Danny Butterman, yeah.
Fanny back bottom, whatever it is. Was it? Fanny back. Nicholas Arsewipe. And that's why the two Andys called, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sergeant Nicholas Arsewipe and PC Fanny back.
Fanny back, yeah.
Fanny back bottom, anyway. So that was a little clue of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
We're talking about obviously. Say hello, George. I think you have done it.
Yeah, I have done, but yeah, good evening, guys.
You may obviously on the Octopoddy show we talk about James Bond.
Yeah, but we wanted to stray away from that and see how something else goes. You know, we share a lot of interest in films that we like, and it's not all about James Bond. It's one of our many passions, but you know, we like other films, and as you can already tell, we're looking at starting off with maybe the Cornetto Trilogy today.
Yeah, so today, we're talking about the Cornetto
That's
Trilogy.
what we want to try and get down and analyse.
So, when we talk about the three Cornetto Trilogy, let's just explain ourselves for anyone that doesn't know.
No, yeah.
There's three movies, a loose trilogy of films.
Yeah.
All directed by Edgar Wright and written by Edgar Wright and Simon
Pegg, yeah.
who also co-stars in all of the movies. So it's kind of forms a loose trilogy because they don't follow on from each other.
No, they don't share the same characters.
No. They're all similar riffs on genre, aren't they? So the first one's a horror movie.
Yeah.
The second one's an action film. And the third one's a science fiction.
Yeah, so I'd say sci-fi adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for.
100%, yeah.
And these films are Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. Hot Fuzz.
And they're World's
End. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all kind of genre movies, but they're all comedies as well. So, isn't it? They're all comic versions.
They've all got a particular style, yeah.
So we just want to say we're not talking about Paul.
No, even though those two were in it together, it's not part of the Triangle Trilogy, as we call it.
So tell me why it's called the Three Cornetto Trilogy.
You put me on the spot now.
I can't remember why.
I'm sure it comes up, doesn't it?
They eat cornettos every movie.
That's what I mean, right? Yeah. And then, actually, do they in World's End? Because
they don't eat the cornettos.
The wrapper comes up right at the end, and they sneak it in at the end.
Yeah. They got a cheer when I was in the cinema, so obviously people knew what the cornetto thing was.
Oh, there you go then, yeah. But yeah, I got that.
Is it strawberry cornetto in Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, because of the blood references.
Because there's that famous bit. There's a little factoid here. Because in Shaun of the Dead, we're assuming everyone's seen it, so we'll be talking about certain things.
Spoilers alert.
But in Shaun of the Dead, there's that funny bit when they're hanging. They've been out on the night on the Raz, and Simon Pegg's like, "Do you want anything from the shop?" And he's like half asleep and goes, "Cornetto," and I got a big laugh when I was in the cinema.
Yeah.
Apparently in America, they don't have cornettos.
Okay.
So no one laughed at it because apparently in America they're called Nobby's nuts or something like that. So they didn't dub it over; they just left line cornetto in. But apparently on the DVD they're like someone pegging out saying they're like in America like nothing, like no laughter at all about that because they don't know what cornettos are.
Yeah. And
then they have a bigger scene in Hot Fuzz with the brain freeze.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Cornetto. I think they just had the classic.
I think it's classic and then it's mint in the last one. Or is it mint and then classic? We should have done our research.
I'm sure it's mint in the last one. The packaging is mint.
Mm. So that's why they're called the three flavours. Sometimes it's called.
Yeah, I'm just thinking what's my favourite flavour.
Mint all the way for me. I love mint. Mint ice cream, mint choc chip. Yeah.
I'm a bit of a basic bitch. I'd say classic for me.
Classic vanilla.
Yeah, classic vanilla all the way, I'd say for me.
We're all in agreement now that strawberry sucks ass.
It
Yeah?
sucks ass. It sucks
Sucks
ass.
Well, yeah, so we've talked about Cornetto for a bit. Let's talk about movies then. So,
But yeah,
all directed by Edgar Wright, who's one of the
better directors.
popular British directors of
Yeah,
the last 20 years.
Yeah, I would say so.
20. I mean, when would Shaun of the Dead, was that
2004, that was.
I was old. I was 19.
Was ya?
19.
I was 4. That's a bit weird, isn't
That
it?
is a bit weird. But that's it. That's why you're my
Protege.
I'm the mentor and you're the mentee.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
what it's
it.
about.
Exactly that.
You're my Padawan. So that came out then. I remember the trailers and stuff for it, and everyone being like, "Oh, what's that? What's real good?" Because I vaguely remember some Pegg being in Spaced.
Yeah, that's
Which
how he
was-
sort of come about, wasn't it? Yeah.
Edgar Wright directed it. That's how they
Met.
formed.
Mhm.
They'd known each other before, but apparently that's how they really formed like a kind of partnership then, and came up with the idea
Mhm.
for Shaun of the Dead. Because apparently have you ever watched Spaced?
Oh, I've seen bits
It's
and bobs.
it's very much like the other stuff. They're all
Yeah.
spoofs of movies and stuff like that in it, and there's a lot of like very like over the top.
I would watch it. to
It's
be
funny.
honest,
It's
yeah.
funny, and there's a lot of stuff to do with Star Wars and all stuff like that in it. So all the stuff that we've
It's got a few characters in there that appear in the films as well,
yeah,
obviously,
there's a lot
naturally.
of cameos in that. David Williams is in it and things like that. They pop up in it, but Nick Foster's in it as his friend, as a smaller role. He's not one of the main characters in it, but he comes up in most episodes. But they did Space, and there's a scene in Space series 1 or 2 where they've been playing Resident Evil all night, and then in the morning, like Simon Pegg's character wakes up and imagines he's like fighting zombies, and it was like a 2-minute scene.
But that's how it kicks it all off.
Like, oh, we should do a whole movie like this. This would be quite funny, like a whole movie where you fight zombies.
Zombies, because you hadn't really had many of those come out before.
Well, zombie comedies.
Yeah, or even like when it was like, you know, if you think of how Shaun of the Dead sort of comes back, it's sort of an apocalypse that comes out of nowhere, isn't it?
It's meant to be based on like the Dawn of the Dead, like
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead stuff. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of references to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And again, he's a bit like a Tarantino style guy, Edgar Wright. They're always putting like all the characters' names are like got links to like horror movie directors, like Fulci, because he rings up Fulci's restaurant, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Lucio Fulci directed Cannibal Holocaust and stuff like that. So a lot of these zombie movies and things. So there's all references to that. I'm coming to get you, Barbara. Right?
Oh yeah.
That's the line at the beginning of Night of the Dead, the original Night of the Dead, and that's why he says, "We're coming to get you, Barbara." That's
yeah,
why it's in
that's
there.
a
'Cause
good
that's the
line.
beginning. And apparently, the director of Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero, they screened it for him, and Simon Pegg and that like, "Did you notice the bit where we said about night?" And apparently, he was like, "No, what bit was that?" And they had to tell him, and he was like, "Oh yeah." He was not bothered about it. So,
You lose the comedy factor, I feel like,
And,
when that happens.
They were in Land of the Dead as well. Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg have a cameo of zombies in that as well as a tribute, which was directed by George Romero. It was the fourth of the Night of the Living Dead trilogy. So yeah, I mean, one thing that's good about those movies, because they classed it as a zombie rom-com.
A zombie rom-com, yeah, I remember it being...
So it's a zombie romantic comedy.
Comedy, yeah.
Because they wanted it to be funny and a horror movie at the same time. They still wanted it to be kind of scary, but they also wanted it to be kind of romantic as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a heavily amount of romance in Shaun of the Dead, is there, really?
But it's a love story. Sort of.
Yeah, to some degree.
There's 2 love stories, isn't there?
What, him and Ed and...
Yeah.
And him and...
Liz.
Liz.
Isn't it?
Is Liz.
Is it Liz? Or is that
It's
her
definitely
friend?
Liz.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
Yeah.
Oh, is it Liz? Yeah,
It
no, it
is.
is, because David calls her Lizzie,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, because what was the friend called? What's the other
The one that's in
gal
the office.
called?
She's got.
I want to call her
name.
Dawn. She's not called Dawn. She's called
no,
Dawn in
but-
the
No,
office.
yeah, that's not from Dawn from the office. Isn't
Oh,
it?
do you know what?
We'll come to her. So we
Yeah,
can Google it. But
yeah.
because she's like, there's a lot of. You can tell. So this is what I like about it as well. There's kind of their little they all come from like the art scenes. So there's like little digs at like she's a drama, an actress and stuff. And there's stuff like when she's trying to teach them how to. Sadness behind the eyes and things like that, like a drunk that's lost a bet or whatever, isn't it? That thing like that. So she's trying to teach him how to act, and but yeah, the love story between Ed and Shaun, the tragic love story, romance.
Yeah. Because
there's always this is one thing I do like about their movies, is that there's always something about most of them, but there is an emotional side to it about growing up.
Yeah, I think Shaun, he it's that part where he sort of gets in, doesn't he? Liz has just broken up with him. He has a few drinks with Ed, and he sort of gets home and he sort of wakes up, doesn't he? And he sort of
sort your life out.
He sort your life out, Shaun. That's what he puts on the whiteboard. It's when he wakes up.
Have you seen? Just to go off point, we'll go back to that because I think you're 100% right there. But have you seen on the DVD they got the plane edit or whatever it is for the airline version?
No.
You're not allowed to have swearing in it.
No.
And instead of saying the F word, they say funk. And so they know that bit with Pete and the guy, like his flatmate.
Yeah.
He's like, sort your funkin' life out. And at the end, he's like, you can funk off. And he's like that. And then you know, at the end, Ed's like, prick, that one. Next time I see you, you're dead. And then he goes prick. And then in the other version, he goes prink.
Prink. You prink.
Doesn't even make sense.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like, have you seen the Scarface airline version? This down's one great big chicken waiting to be plucked. Stuff like that. Anyway, that was another thing. Yeah, so it's definitely about him moving
from that point. Yeah, you know, it just happens to be when he tries to sort his life out that a zombie apocalypse is happening at the same time, and he tries to win his girlfriend back, and he kind of
I saw it on an article or Twitter, and they were talking about the best genre movies start off like they could be a drama film.
Yeah.
And then suddenly out of nowhere the stuff comes in.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere. Yeah, and it does. It sort of they sort of tease it at the beginning, don't they? Because I think it's really, really clever. Is at the start, everyone's still human, but they're all acting very dead and zombified already. Everyone's doing the exact same thing. Yeah, they're on the checkouts.
I think that's a clever kind of.
It's a very clever nod at the start to what it's sort of expecting.
And they try and do something. They said they were influenced. I don't know if you've ever seen it. You might not. It's from the 1970s remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
No, I'm not seeing it.
And it's got Donald Sutherland and Jeff Goldblum in, and they do something really clever in that one where it's meant to be like all the invasions happening already. Right. And so throughout the scene, there's like a scene with like the main characters talking, and in the background there's something weird going on. Yeah. Like you just see people running, like they're running away from someone, and it's like never mentioned and stuff like that. And it's meant to be like in the background, and the invasion's already happening around them, and people haven't noticed. And that's kind of thing. Like I'm pretty sure the commentary they said that's something they wanted to do. That there's other weird things going on around them, and it's already started, and no one's like it's on the news a little bit when they're talking about. So,
yeah, they skip some of it, you know, they skip because it sort of comes out a little bit about, you know, they sort of portray it to how everything in the world is at the moment, isn't it? You know, they try and sort of say that it's an illness or something that's sort of going around.
They never quite say what caused it.
What caused it, no. And I think it's really clever because it's chasing them throughout the first part of the film, that it's getting closer and closer, more people becoming infected, but they're obviously together and it doesn't seem to be really affecting them. And then obviously when they leave the pub after the lockout, they see that girl chop off a boyfriend's head or whatever when they're having a little, well, they think they're having a little snog and whatever. And then it's sort of funny because they meet loads of zombies on the way, because that's the first one. Then they're in the middle of the road with someone they think's drunk, and then they do the and then obviously then they go back to theirs, and obviously Pete's been chopped up.
Yeah, they broke my hands.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's up with your hand, mate? Because that's, again, you know, I said the bit, one thing that's really good, and we'll talk about it with all the other films as well, is that the writers, as writers, Simon Pegg, the screenplays are really tight.
Mm-hmm.
They spend ages like planning it out.
Yeah.
And they go into all the details. So everything sets something up. So everything pays off. Everything's a joke towards something else.
It's all subtle.
And and it's all in the background.
And that's how it really works well.
And that's why you can rewatch their films over and over again. And if you ever see that on the DVD, they talk about how they write the scripts, and they got like a flip chart. And if on the Shaun of the Dead one, they'd like literally got the jokes like at the beginning in the Winchester. Can I get you CUNT's a drink and all stuff like that? And there's all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
And like all the jokes are like planned out, and then they go back and they add more bits. And then
again, it's all the payoff, isn't it? It's this might be skipping ahead, but even in the Winchester first part about it's about the gun.
Yeah.
And obviously then it pays off in the end.
Everything.
And we've spoken about that before. And when it's the
dogs can look up.
The dogs can look up. When he agrees, he goes, "Okay, the gun is working," but he goes, "But you have to believe me. Dogs can look up." Other parts are, when they have a nod, we see all the people in the pub that they talk about. Mm-hmm. You see them further in the film either dead. You see the guy with the snake boots.
Well, there's the famous bit where he says, like, they talk about where he goes like, "Look, we'll go home, have a Bloody Mary," because like the Mary's the girl, and it's like lays out the movie. They were back in the Winchester for shots. Like, with a shotgun and stuff.
Yeah.
So it lays out the film like before you. So they're very clever at that kind of stuff. And like I said, that bit with Pete when he comes down and he's like, "Next time I see him, you're dead." That's like he's in the next morning. He's like a zombie and stuff. And again, just going back to that bit we said about that, it's about growing up.
Yeah.
The first Shaun of the Dead is kind of about being in your 20s and growing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Putting away childish things.
Yeah.
He can't just hang out with his mates all the time.
Play
He's got to decide
computer games. He can't do that all the time. Ed's not really moving forward. He's arguably holding Shaun back, and a lot of people say that, like, Liz likes Shaun, but the trouble is Ed goes everywhere he goes to. Like in their date in the Winchester, she goes, "It's not like I don't like Ed," and it's like he's like, "Whatever," and then Shaun's like, "Oh, it's not like I like unknown women and David. I'm gonna have to search up her name because that's really frustrating me."
Yeah, so there's all that stuff because there's that bit line when he's working in he's like Curry's or something, isn't it? He works for
like Dixon's Curry's sort
which
of
is
thing.
the name of the actor in Ken Forey, who's in Dawn of the Dead again. But he and then Rafe Spall's in it.
Yeah.
And he when he was younger, and he goes, "There's other things I want to do in my life, He's like, when? And it's kind of that's the point, isn't it? Like, I don't want to be working here forever. There's other things I want to do in my life.
Exactly.
When?
Yeah.
So that's the point, isn't it? He's got
Diane.
That's
not really a memorable name, though, is it?
Not, so.
But
then when I was at screenwriting class, someone said, "Do you ever remember characters' names that much?"
Well, yeah, we know Shaun. We know Shaun, but I guess it's because his name is actually Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
See, Edgar Wright, he's kind of a hero of mine in a lot of ways. Because he's like the guy coming from not really in the film business, but he started really young.
Yeah.
And was a bit like do it yourself kind of filmmaker. Made loads of film. Made his first film when he was 21.
So my age. I haven't made a film yet.
And he made a film called Fistful of Fingers, which was a spoof Western movie that you can watch on YouTube. That is pretty rough around the edges. It stars him and his mates. No, he's not in it, but it sounds like his mates.
He's and mates in it. Yeah.
All trying to do Clint Eastwood impressions, and it's all kind of a comedy thing, like his style. But that got him a job working in TV, which got him working on Spaced, and then obviously
movies. Yeah,
and he's got his own very particular style. That kind of there was a film analysis by Tony Zhao a few years ago on YouTube, and he talks about how Edgar Wright's one of the best comedy directors because he actually does visual comedy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other comedy filmmakers, they don't make the filmmaking funny.
No.
So his filmmaking's funny, so there's things like popping into the screen, the zooms and all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
the visual comedies,
exactly,
I get it. They're not relying on
just the jokes. No,
because evidently with the Cornetto it didn't work in certain audiences. So
they had I was watching another interview with him this morning, and he was saying about how there's no improvisation in his movies. He says a lot of comedy movies nowadays, like the Will Ferrell stuff, you can tell that they've just said, off you go. Leave the camera running for 10 minutes and just come up with some funny stuff.
Yeah.
And he says, we don't do that. He's
No.
like, no.
It's all
Everything's
planned.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's what I think, works quite well. It follows a good story. It doesn't really deviate from that. They're all, all leads into getting into the Winchester. And that's how it sort of ends, doesn't it? They don't really have a plan past that because I don't think they need one.
No, and then, like I said, Shaun's always wrong as well, isn't he?
Shaun is always wrong,
Well, he gets people to follow him, but he's pretty much always wrong, isn't
he? Yeah, he doesn't really know where he's going. He leads them on the wrong sort of...
Like, being in the flat probably was the best place to be, wasn't it?
I don't know, because when he got there, at the front, there was a load of old zombies there, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he had to go around the back. He was like, I have to go around the back.
But they're up high, aren't they?
I don't know. But then...
Where would you go? That's the whole point, isn't it? Like, if they get up...
Trouble is, their idea of actually going to the Winchester made sense with the heavy doors, with the beer, with the shotgun, and he goes, oh, that don't work, But I kind of get... But then again, he's just following Ed. That was Ed's idea to go. He just goes, where's reliable?
Where are we going? Winchester.
Where's all the exits?
Liz is like, where's the plan?
Yeah.
Winchester.
That
is the joke.
That is the joke.
He can't think of anywhere else to
He
go.
can't think of it. No, because that's all Ed thinks of, and he tries to, actually say to Shaun, well, no, it's actually all it does actually make sense because I can smoke, I know where all the exits are, and that's his funny thing, but seriously, that's all Ed knows is literally the Winchester in his own flat, because they were going to just stay at their own flat. But with the window broke.
It's not safe here, is it?
No.
That's what it is.
No, exactly. But no, I generally think...
I think they're wrong about the Batman soundtrack.
Yeah.
He's like...
Throw it.
Yeah.
I was like,
Purple Rain, no, it's Sign of the Times, no, and then he's like, Batman, throw it. Batman soundtrack by Prince.
I don't like it because... Prince does a very good job. They chuck Sade as well.
Yeah.
I like Sade.
Yeah, I know. So
then I guess because he goes, it's because it was Liz's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you throw Blue Monday and it breaks. That was the original pressing. Like, that's like the rare, like.
And he's like, shit, or fuck it, or whatever he says. Yeah, no, I generally think it follows quite a good story. The ending for me. I don't want to get straight on to the ending.
No, go for it. No, because we're pretty much going to move on in a minute.
Yeah. It sort of wraps up. It's good because the tempo starts going up. Too
neatly, do you think, or too quickly, or
too quick? No, I wouldn't say too neatly.
The army to show up and rescue them all.
Yeah, it's sort of out of nowhere. They're prepping them. Obviously Liz and Shaun, they wouldn't survive going out there. The amount of zombies that were out there that Shaun dragged over, plus all the others, they were going to go fight up there with an axe and a bloody metal chain that she had. Like, it weren't going to do very well.
No.
But yeah, and then obviously, is it Yvonne? Is that her name?
Yeah, she's the one that...
She's in Spaced as well, isn't she?
She's the one that wrote it with Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Obviously she comes out of nowhere. I love that scene, thinking about it, when they cross paths. Yeah. And it's basically the same character because I think Martin Freeman's in it. The person from
Matt Lucas is
basically their Ed.
In it.
Yeah, is she the is she
Reece
Jackie
Smith
from?
Is the guy who plays like the David Cat. He's the one from League of Gentlemen.
Yeah, what's the lady who's in Friday Night Dinner? Do you not know her name?
Oh, Tamsin Greig.
Tamsin Greig. Yeah. I wish I saw more of them. That group.
Yeah,
but then it was basically them. It was basically mirroring what was
going, and it was almost the joke was meant to be like they could follow them as well. There's loads of everyone's having their own adventure.
Yeah,
they're all having a different adventure.
Yeah, everyone's doing their own thing in the middle of a zombie apocalypse.
And there's a bigger world out there than just these four guys walking around. Because obviously they don't run into anyone else, do they? All that time they're walking around, they don't. Apart from a couple of zombies, they don't really.
No, they don't. No.
So it's obviously not just them five just walking around surviving.
No. But no, I do think that it does wrap up quite neatly.
Do you like that final, last sting? That is hilarious.
What, with Ed in the shed?
Yeah. When he goes out to the shed and he's like, oh, knock it off. And then some girl that I used to know screamed in the cinema like when they saw that bit.
Why?
Because it scared her. Because she thought it was like a jump scare, like that Shaun was going to go into the PlayStation in the shed and then there was a zombie and that was going to eat him. But that's the thing, it works as a horror movie as well. There's some quite gruesome bits in it.
Yeah. And I think... What's that?
Didn't you used to not like David bit where he gets pulled apart?
Oh, I fucking hated that as a kid. That used to... the skin just breaks so easily. Like
Yeah.
it just gets peeled back like a bloody banana. Yeah, no, I never used to like that as a kid. I still don't like that now. That's...
Yeah, I think it works as a whole movie.
It does work quite well, yeah. That's when shit starts to hit the fan a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when David dies, Diane then goes out to rescue it. It just then starts. That's when, obviously, they've had to kill Barbara as well, and it all starts going...
Getting a bit serious.
You
like,
know, because...
Sean's actions are having a bit of consequences now. His decisions are going wrong.
Yeah, you all think, because he's got into the Winchester, you think, they've done it. They've set off, the plan's actually worked. No, it starts to go downhill. He's still a loser.
That's what's good about it, because in American movies, they're losers, but they're not really losers.
No.
It's like Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I hate my life. I'm like, you drive around in a Porsche, you're on TV, you're going out, you're married to Jennifer Aniston, and you're the loser. Whereas in England, like in Shaun of the Dead, like they're actual losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've said that before, haven't we, about Bruce Almighty. But that's good.
So I think Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we've said everything we need to
that
say.
Was that one,
now, Hot Fuzz arguably is my favourite, but I said to Craig before.
You can't argue if it's your favourite.
No,
I'll argue with you, but.
No, and I think personally it's just because I have an attachment of it. That was the first one of the trilogy I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, whenever it came out, I think it was 2007. I think I'm right by saying Hot Fuzz.
That's right.
Yeah, we've got to take my word for it.
22.
7.
Huh?
7.
7. You get there.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm trying to match
Catching up
with you. Yeah, exactly. But I feel as if that
longer
was...
than you are now, isn't it?
What, 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm only 20. But yeah, no, I feel as if that was... That's what I fell in love with, was that comedy and that mixture of action. That is like, for me, I think it was such a good blend, and they mixed it in so well, and it's got a bit of everything in it, and that's why I liked it. And it was also, it's like playing a detective as well, isn't it? It keeps you guessing for the whole film. Like, it's a whodunit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a whodunit. Who's killed all these people, mixed in with comedy and...
So I remember when it came out, it didn't get amazing reviews at first, because
why is that great?
The trailers were like all the shootout bits.
Yeah.
So everyone just kind of assumed it was just going to be
mass shootout,
a spoof of like action movies and stuff, like right from the beginning. But it's not like that. That's at the end. Most of it is, like I said, it's like this weird murder mystery, Wicker Man.
Yeah, but I think that's why I quite like it. I mean, I think when you
it.
rewatch it a couple of times, and especially when I did as a kid, I just wanted to skip right to the end of the shootout bit because that was always my favourite. But when you grow up, you can actually I like where it goes, and I like all the little bits, and I like all the little subtle hints. And then obviously when they start playing them back at the end of all the key points of, you know, like Timothy Dalton and all the stuff he said. It's
a well worked plot.
It's a well worked plot. Yeah, I agree.
A great big bushy beard.
Oh, that bit. That's a good payoff, isn't it?
Yeah, I said that.
You know, and then you know, I'll tell you what. A funny line in that is, why is he wearing that hat? He's fuck ugly.
Oh yeah.
But why is he wearing that?
Some people can't see.
Because he's fuck.
Maybe he doesn't want people to see his face.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to say because he's fuck ugly. Yeah. And then I absolutely love it when he's like, when they meet each other, they go, "Oh, you're right, Pete. Yeah, he's Jackie, brother's sister's girl, neighbour's auntie's cousin, doesn't he?" Because that's how that's how it all works in the country. You know?
That's all thing. There's a lot of digs at that kind of thing. He comes from Edgar Wright comes from like Somerset, like Wells and stuff. I think that's pretty much where he comes from. That kind of. Area.
And that's what he tries to spoof it on, doesn't he? Because that's another clever thing about that film is that it's such a quiet town. You don't think that much is going to go on. But then obviously the Andes say, didn't they? Goes, oh, everyone's farmer and their mum's packing round here. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like there's some things that it's surprising how well I do in America kind of things because they're kind of very British jokes. Some of them, like things like county fairs and the crapness of a county fair.
Yeah, like
and, the local newspaper guy with Nicholas Angle. And all that
I don't get how they'd get those jokes. I just don't get it.
I don't know.
But no, and it's just I feel as if the trilogy it's so like it has so good payoffs. But if you notice those little details, I think Hot Fuzz out of the three though does sort of blatantly put the payoffs in your face That's because of them solving the murder mystery and all that. You know, they go back on everything. But when you rewatch it the first time round, you notice all the things. First point, you don't need them to explain it to you.
No,
it's got the rewatch factor that when you see it, you go, oh yeah, that's, you know, you spot it before it's even told to you.
I just for me, I think Hot Fuzz is very funny, especially like the action, really well handled action. And stuff. And Edgar Wright said I wanted to see what it would be like to make an action movie just like in England. Because it's not something we're known for in England.
No.
Okay, we make James Bond movies, but we don't make action movies. And any time they try and do it, it's kind of laughable. So, I mean, we don't have the gun culture, so we're not going to have shootouts with the police that much and things like that. So
no, it's difficult to make it realistic.
But they set up wire because that guy's got the arsenal in his house and underneath his house and stuff.
I remember a funny line out of that as well. I can't remember what it is though. I really can't remember.
Yes, I suppose. That bit.
Yeah, I suppose.
They're like,
I love it, but yeah.
He goes, yeah, I suppose. He goes, yeah, he goes, yes, I suppose. It's like Danny that.
Yeah.
Because Simon Pegg is quite funny because he plays an action hero, doesn't he?
He does.
But he's obviously not physically.
No, but I
hero.
quite like that he does play the serious character in this one. It is more about the growing up, like you said. It shows that he's like, that is his most serious role, I think, because he is like I know at the end he starts becoming a little bit more jokey and funny and whatever, but at the start when it's like, oh, Nicholas Angel and he's good at this and he's done that and he's done this, you know.
Out of the three, I think the reason with Hot Fuzz it's the most it's the least emotional one and it's the least like more to do with reality. Yeah. And it's more of a fun comedy, like exercise as a filmmaker to make a great like a fun action movie and stuff like that. And it is very clever and funny, but he's a bit one note, Simon Pegg's character in it. Yeah. In some ways, I know that's the point of him, and he gets like you said, gets a little relaxed and stuff, but he doesn't feel quite so real as Shaun or Gary King. No. That kind of character. No. And
it feels as if anyone could have played that role.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think he brings anything special to that role.
I don't know about that. I know what you're saying. I think it works. It's funny because it's him playing it.
That's the funny part of it. Is that
it's someone who's obviously not physically heroic, not someone who's obviously not an action hero guy. No. Playing
an action hero guy.
Super cop kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And there's some funny digs at the beginning when Steve Coogan and that like he makes it look bad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And how's the hand? Still a little bit stiff.
Yeah. How's the hand? How's the hand, Nicholas? And he's like
still a bit stiff. Yeah, exactly. I love that, and like I love going through it, like when they go through the chain of commands and they're all like there. I love it as well because
he's going to say the same thing I did.
Exactly. Yeah, and then I was going to say Alan Partridge comes down, and then that's
he
when
almost is Alan Partridge in my life. Steve Coogan.
Yeah, he does seem like it, and then obviously they bring down Bill Nye, don't they?
Yeah, Bill Nye and then returns from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. And I love it when he goes, there's one thing you didn't count on, and that's how the team's going to react. And then it's just like, everyone hates him.
And then there's the cameo of Kate Blanchett. She's his girlfriend.
Oh, she is.
When she's got a mask, she's a forensics. And she's got her face covered up with a mask and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it Bob? No, it's not Bob.
He's Dave.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Hello there.
He's like smooth.
The comedy's more broad, I think.
Yeah.
And we're not supposed to be in Shaun of the Dead and The World's End. We're kind of meant to be in the real world almost. Whereas in Hot Fuzz, that is kind of everything's kind of heightened and stuff, even from that beginning, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit more broad comedy, which works. It's fine. It's just maybe that's why I find it a bit colder. Not as warm as the other ones, maybe.
Not as warm, and I just feel I'll tell you what, bloody Nick Frost's character is hilarious.
Yeah,
but I feel
funny,
I feel like that's the one character you can kind of relate to in that film because he is a little bit more laid back.
He has a bit more of the emotional journey in some ways.
He does because his dad tries to protect him, and he's had to listen to all these rules and whatever, and he's just a kid, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
But the trouble is, I feel as if I wish.
You know what I mean? When it says about that's one of the best
the monkey, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, again, that's a visual comedy where it's like out of frame, and he says like, "You and your monkey."
Yeah.
Like, you talking about me? He's talking about he pulls lips up the monkey out of frame.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's good. But I wish. I don't know whether. No, I'm going to come on to that actually.
Come on to it now.
I was about to say that.
Over it. Where have you got it?
Well, no, because I was going to link it into World's End.
Okay.
Because. Yeah, I'll link it when we start talking about that.
There.
But I've got a good idea that I want to talk about because I was about to make a comment.
I think I've got the idea, but I'm
it was really stupid. I was about to say a stupid thing, but actually it's not.
Okay.
We'll save it.
So what else are we going to talk about Hot Fuzz? That amazing action scene.
That amazing action scene. That's when I think I fell in love with guns and violence, I think.
Oh, blimey. George. Guns are bad.
No. You know what I mean? Like, that's when... I think because it was one of my first action films that I saw. It's comedic and it's so over the top, like the barrel rolls. Even the bit when he flies open the door to knock the teacher over the door, and it's like you know, and it's the swearing. And when you're a kid, that to me, that's all funny and cool, isn't it?
There's no attempt to make it like real war movie, so it's not real violence. So you can make it as gruesome and over the top as you like.
Exactly. Another great line we like is, "He's a doctor. Get over it. He'll get over it."
Get over it.
Yeah. And then it's the bit at the end. He's like, "You're a doctor. Get over it." He's like, "Yeah, motherfucker." And I love it because
I brought you into this world.
I'm going to take you out. That's a very good line. And I absolutely love Jaws, aka Lurch, whatever his name is, Michael, and he's like
from Game of Thrones.
And that bit as well, Craig, at the beginning when he's like, raised by his mother and sister, and are they both as tall as him? Same person. And that's a nod to the farm world and stuff like that, isn't it? You know, them. But I love that, and I love the bit when they're raiding Summerfield. Like, I just that makes me miss Summerfield. I used to love going into Summerfield.
I used to work at Summerfield for a long time.
You did.
And that's why I kind of connected with Edgar Wright, because he used to work for like Gateways.
Yeah, and
he used to be sat at like a shop, working in a shop, and then I was working for Summerfield when the film came out. And there was a little bit of cross promotion kind of thing going on. Yeah. And I was like, it's funny, like watching them all in their Summerfield uniform, shooting them all out. It was kind of funny for me at the time. And having Timothy Dalton as your manager. Oh, he
plays that protagonist. Antagonist, sorry, I'll get him confused sometimes. Antagonist so well, because he's such a dick.
Yeah.
And that's what I love though. He's there at every single murder. And he plays little, and he's like, the first murder, he's like, to her Romeo and his Juliet, you know, when he's doing that little sing-song. And then I love the bit when it's George Merton dies, and then he turns out his fire. Yeah, that bit, I love it, absolutely love it. And
there's those good red herring. The point of the murder issue is that Simon Pegg's right, but he's doing it for the wrong reason, because at first he thinks there's a big conspiracy about, like, them trying to, like, make a lot of money and like keep the real estate up, isn't it? But it's not. It's just because they do these petty things that annoy them. Yeah, like they murder her just because she's bad. She ruins the acting.
And that dreadful laugh. Yeah, exactly. That's why. That's when that's when they'll explain. And then you can see on his face he's kind of right, but he's kind of wrong because
he's 53. He had me down to 55. I'm 53.
Yeah, I'm 53. Oh mate, that's a great line as well. Pint of lager, Mary, for the greater good. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think out of the three, that's one with the payoffs.
Hit the hardest, you think?
They hit the hardest, but I think they hit the hardest because it is a detective murder mystery comedic action film. It sort of all links in quite well, you know, because the other two aren't really supposed to do the payoffs or whatever. There's only small parts. No, but this one is where it's like
it needs that tighter structure because it's an action.
It's an action thing, and they're trying to investigate, you know, and that's why I think it is a good one, you know.
So we're gonna segue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So World's End.
Yeah.
So tell me your idea you were saving up.
Well, I was about to say that I feel as if out of the three films, Nick Frost doesn't grow up, but I forget the last one is when he plays his most serious.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Good, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength.
In the first two movies, Simon Pegg is kind of the straight guy.
Yeah, I thought the first one...
He's funny in Shaun of the Dead, but he's still meant to be...
He's still trying to be serious for Liz, isn't he? Because he's trying to change and he's trying to be the straight guy.
He's definitely the straight guy.
Yeah.
He hasn't been funny with it, but he's trying to play it straight.
Yeah.
And then it was almost like they switched around in like the third one.
Yeah.
which I think is one of Simon Pegg's best performances as Gary King.
Yeah,
I think he is.
I agree with you.
See, I know you're not so keen on World's End.
I think the first time I watched it, I didn't like it because there was not much action. I didn't really get it, but I think, again, when did it come out?
A couple of years ago. 2000...
There was a bit of a gap, wasn't there?
There was a bit of a gap, so they went off and did other movies themselves, each of them themselves.
See, World's End was 2013. This is the time where I would have watched stuff in the cinemas and stuff like that, but I didn't really get it. I didn't really get it. But I think it's only when you rewatch it a few times. I rewatched it. I can't remember. The last time I rewatched it, I left it thinking that was better than what I thought it was.
I'll say to you, and I'm not being patronising.
No, you can be. It's fine.
But when you get older, you'll understand it more.
Yeah, I even feel that now. Compared to what
I don't feel like that now. You're how old are you? 21?
20.
20. And that's it. Not even 21 yet.
Yeah, I know, but I've been hanging around you for so long.
Yeah, I know,
you age me.
Don't feel like. See, this is the whole point. That's the whole point, is it? Feeling like.
I get it from Gary. Gary's supposed to be the person, isn't he? That he has that one night, and nothing gets better from that one night, and his life goes downhill.
The heroes, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, my mate's dad once was telling me a little story about how like a few years ago, him and his old mates, when they were teenagers, got together with their wives, and they went out to all the old places they used to go out to, and they said it was the most boring night of their life. And he said, you can't go back because there's different people. Time's moved on, and your life's changed completely.
100%.
The places are still there, but you're different. So I think that's kind of what that film's trying to get at, isn't it? Because World's End about a guy. Gary King's the hero.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah.
But life. He peaked too
early.
No
one knows him now.
He peaked too early.
I love it when he goes, Raymondo, the prodigal son has returned. He goes, who's that then?
Because again, that's another thing. All the different the pubs have their own links to the story, haven't it?
Yeah, but the first half of all the pubs are the same.
Yeah, well, there's the Old Familiar, because the second one is the same as the first one.
Yeah.
The Famous Cock, because they recognise Gary King and kick him out.
Yeah.
And there's all stuff like that, and then there's like... But, so, for me, I absolutely love that first half of that movie. Absolutely think it's hilarious. See, again, we said, the best drama movies start off with something just as a normal drama film or comedy film.
Yeah, and then it swings off.
That film, there's tiny little hints of it. Apparently, when they're kids, you see the meteor in the background when
it lands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that when they're on the field?
Thing, yeah. And it's meant to be that's the network arriving to take over. And he that's what was I talking? I can't remember.
Because all of his friends leave.
Yeah.
That's why none of them are affected by the network.
He leaves, I guess. He doesn't go back there.
Who, Gary?
Yeah.
He doesn't go back till that day.
Yeah, because he just sort of...
He's often a mental home, isn't he, somewhere? We see him at the beginning, he's sort of in a little apartment, isn't he?
And he never did. That thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It would be the best... Never get better than this moment.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're all in a support group.
But no, I do feel like that's definitely the one I've rewatched the most, only to try and understand it with every watch.
I think it's a more challenging movie.
It is a challenging, but I like challenging movies because it gives you that. You've got to rewatch it, and I'm glad I have, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to give much input on it. I've been able to give you more input because I've rewatched it.
I think it's a bit more of a. It's trying to be a bit more ambitious and a bit more difficult movie.
I agree.
And it's have something to say a bit more about what it's like people that peak too early.
Yeah.
Wanting that feeling of wanting to go back to when you was a youngster.
Yeah.
That feeling of rebelling against
the
day-to-day, but the mundanity of life. They all like it. All of them. They all jump at the chance to kind of get away.
Yeah.
Because life's kind of flattened them all down in different moments, haven't they? And like you said, Nick Frost plays a straight guy. This one, he's a straight guy.
Yeah, and I think arguably out of the three, it's his best performance.
Yeah. I think so.
I know he's a funny guy, and I know he plays the funny guy quite well. He plays the sidekick quite well. But I think I quite like the dynamic that those two aren't the best of friends in this.
Yeah.
Like they were, and that's how it's good that they link it at the start, he was this, that and the other, he was my best mate, and he loved me, and I guess I loved him too, you know, at the start. And it's, but you find out more, and I like as well that you find out more and more why their relationship, they were these really good friends, and then obviously it drifts off. You know, and you find out little stories about them, about, you know, Gary ODing at the wheel, and then
Nick leaving there. Miraculously, you made a miraculous
recovery. Yeah, when the police turn up and
yeah, I mean, I think he's got some of the funniest lines in it. Like the bit where in the cinema, I couldn't stop laughing when he's like says about drinking rain.
Drinking rain. Yeah, a man of your prowess, drinking rain.
I just think it's almost like the most disappointing bit for that is when the sci-fi stuff comes in. With all like when they're fighting the robots and the planes.
That's where I feel
the fight scenes. They're very well choreographed, but they're a bit repetitive. Like each fight scene is the same, where they're all kind of just trying their arms around and narrowly avoiding.
Trying to knock off their heads.
Yeah,
I know.
Each fight scene seems quite similar to each other.
Yeah, and that's why I think I didn't like the action.
The character interplay is funnier in this one than a lot of the
I think
actual action.
100%. I think the cleverness of it all is they don't need to rely on the action in this film, because I think generally the conversations they all have and the.
I really relate to that stuff about. I've done it before, like on the stag do's with my mates, and you fall back into that kind of. You're all old mates. You haven't seen each other for a while, and your life's moved on a little bit, but you kind of do fall back into that. And,
because all at the beginning they don't want to be. They don't want to know. They don't want to go.
Following Gary King into. I love that bit when they're at the train station.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are we doing, eh? Following Gary King back into another adventure."
Yeah. But when they get into the third or fourth pub, obviously 3 for 4, yeah, 3 for 4, yeah, whatever they say. But obviously I know they've had a few drinks up until then, but they all start to get back into how they used to be. You know, they all sort of do forget their hatred for him, and they do have a good time. And that's what the bit's about, isn't it? Where it's the music, isn't it? It's all about having a good time. And
Primal Scream.
Yeah, and that's a good song. That's a good song to start off, and I like that. And I like the beginning scene where they're all showing, obviously, they've shown all their old lives. And now their new lives. There was something really good that I watched someone say, that when they were introduced at the start, their character names were in a childish Comic Sans sort of font. And then when you see them again, it's sort of white, bold, Times New Roman sort of text, to show that, you know, they've adulted up. They've grown up. They all did, in a way.
Just to say, you know, talking about Primal Scream, another thing in all the movies, Edgar Wright is quite good at music.
He does pick very.
He's a bit like Tarantino, like picks the right pop songs.
He does.
Although Primal Scream, you can say it's obscure, but he always seems to find the right tunes and the right.
To fit in with the theme of the.
Yeah.
You know, to fit in with the.
Because he did Baby Driver as well, and that's another one.
That's another great one. That's another great soundtrack, and it fits in with what's visually going on. I mean, we're not talking about Baby Driver, but
I know, but that's another thing that he did used to make music videos as well, and he does like to cut to music, and there's definitely that.
And again, he's a visual director, and that's what I like about him. A lot of his doesn't need to be said. It's look, watch.
Which is what the best directors do. He can tell a picture. He can tell a story with pictures.
Don't miss those little things, because you might miss something major. You've got to be keeping an eye out, and that's what I like about it. It challenges you. It doesn't, you know, some films you can just watch and you just sit back and you wouldn't pay much attention.
This is kind of going off subject a little bit.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to make Ant-Man for years.
Okay.
Edgar Wright wrote a script. And it was going to be going for years. This is before the first Avengers movie came out. He'd written the script, and he was going to be making Ant-Man and he cast Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, and he was fired 6 weeks before. No, he quit 6 weeks before the production was about to start.
Yeah.
Because Marvel were like, you can't do all those things you want to do. Like, he wanted to put his normal style into it. He wanted to be separate from the Avengers universe kind of thing. And he wanted to do it his own way, have all these kind of little detailed jokes and they were just like, no, that's not how we do things in Marvel. And he's one of those guys who's such an idiosyncratic director. He's got his own way of doing things. he couldn't fit into that box. But for me, that's why he's a great director, because he actually directs.
He does.
He does it like he actually thinks about what he's doing with the camera. He doesn't just film it and then stick it in there, which is a lot of.
He does. He does do that quite well. And we was talking as well. You know, sort of bringing it back onto World's End. I talked about the ending with you, didn't I? I said, as a kid, as my teenage years, I didn't really get it. I just thought that was ended a bit flat. I didn't really get what was going on. It was very hard to follow.
It was the same when I watched it as well.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that.
A lot of people were kind of a bit confused by that ending, but then that's what I think is good about it, because it doesn't give you the ending that you kind of want, and it kind of it has that downbeat ending, like when the apocalypse actually does happen.
Yeah, you sort of see them escape, and you think that's it, but then it sort of cuts to life's looking quite derelict. It sort of ties up the stories quite well, because obviously Rosalind Pike's character gets with the best mate.
Paddy Considine.
Yeah, they get together, which is nice.
Is he Steve or is he...
Steve.
Is he Steve?
Oh, he's not Steve, is he? Is he Steve? I'm going to have to check.
We're going to have to check.
Research
these things a bit better,
but,
I think.
Huh?
Because there's O-Man.
O-Man, Martin Freeman. Yeah, O-Man's one of my favourite characters.
Peter.
Pete, yeah. Pete's like the weedy little kid, isn't he?
And he has that guy with the bully, isn't it? That's quite a good scene.
That is quite a good scene. That's.
You alright, Peter? I felt so terribly ashamed, isn't it, when he talks about Peter?
Yeah, I know. And then
there's that kind of real moment where he says, like, he looked through me like I wasn't even there. Like when it meant nothing to him, like all that bullying and stuff. And that's again, these guys feel like real people.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, is it Steve or? Paddy Considine plays
you put in World's End characters and it comes up with
Gary King of the Humans. There's that bit at the end.
Comes up with anime. What's that all about?
Maybe there's an anime called World's End, and then he's like
Stephen. So that's by Steve. Yeah, you was right.
He was Stephen.
Yeah,
Steve,
Peter Page.
Yeah. When he says about
another character that shows up.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, he's great in that.
Yeah.
I just love anything he does, really.
Fantastic.
He's that cool older teacher, isn't he?
Yeah. There's that funny bit when they all kind of sit down and they're all acting a bit like when you were a kid and you like see a teacher outside of school, and he's like, "Call me." What's his name? Is it like "Call me Graham" or something like that? Isn't it? Or something?
Call me Graham.
Is it and then Clive or something. And then they're going, "All right, Clive," and they're all doing that, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's when they. That's when he's like they.
Because they're all.
He's like, "Call me Guy," and then and then Simon Pegg's like, "Guy," and he's like, "I can't keep it in." Yeah.
It's like when your kids like when your teacher says that, and even then he's like, "Very good, Gary," isn't it? Like he's like giving us a lesson. He's like, "What does the word robot mean?" He goes, "It means slave in Slavic," and he's like, "Very good, Gary." And
I love it. And
again, that was set up earlier as well, because one of them says it about earlier, didn't they? When they're trying to think this is about robot, it means slave and stuff.
Yeah, and then
it keeps coming back to him when they meet the other guys. Well, technically, and it goes, "Yeah, we know," and it's like,
yeah, and I just think it pays off really well, and I think it's another one that does. It's not as subtle and it's not as down your throat as like trying to tie everything up, but it does.
Less boo boo.
Less boo boo, and then it's like.
Was that play for? Goes that Shakespeare play, A Winter's Tale? Yeah, the one that Shakespeare. A Winter's Tale. And it's like.
And then it was like Exit Pursue a Bear, and then it was like Exit Pursue Yogi Bear, and then it was like Yogi Bear, and then it's like.
Less boo boo.
Yeah, less boo boo. But no, I think it's definitely one that's mature with me, like fine wine.
I like because there's that stuff about alcoholism and stuff as well.
Yeah, which is a serious
subject. It deals with that kind of thing.
And it deals with it. Yeah.
And
you do kind of feel sorry for him.
Yeah, that he's tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
And things like that.
And then when he's they have to tell me when to go to bed. Me
go to bed. Again, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's like a tragic kind of thing.
It's tragic. It's tragic for that character. Yeah.
So I think that's why I like World's End more. It's one I come back to the most a little bit more because I think it's the most mature out of all of them.
I think the thing is, as I said to you, it's got that rewatch factor more so because you feel like every time you rewatch it, you find something new with it. With Hot Fuzz, I know all the lines because it's stereotypical and it's funny and it's this, that and the other. Shaun, out of rewatch, I'd probably watch World's End most for now if I was to watch it. Then Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Right,
but
Hot Fuzz is still your favourite.
But Hot Fuzz is still my favourite because it sticks with me, and
I think World's End is my favourite. I think it's the best film because it's just matured. They've got grown as better filmmakers and actors and things.
Yeah.
I just think they just grew up with it, and it's just a bit more of an unusual. That's why it's not as popular, because I think it's a bit more challenging and a bit more.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't get it because I do think Hot Fuzz is an easy film to watch.
Hot Fuzz.
It's an easy film to watch, isn't it?
I don't think it's an easy film.
No, I do think it's an easy film. I do think it's one that, if me and you watched it right now, when you watched it yesterday,
yeah,
and you probably sat through it quite easily. Yeah. It's not exactly.
It's a really entertaining watch.
And it's not a challenging film at all.
So we're thinking, out of 3, well, we're a disagreement, but that's all right. We're different people. How can I see the same film that you see?
We can't.
Because all my history and all your everything that's made you,
yeah,
you bring that to the movie.
Yeah, but I think that's what it'd be boring if we had the same opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
we agree to disagree on a lot of things.
Yeah, I suppose so.
No, I feel like we do, and we respect each other's opinions because, yeah,
that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't dislike those. I love them, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
All great movies.
All great movies. So I'm glad they just kept it to a trilogy. I'm glad they haven't tried to put a 4th in there.
They could.
I don't know what it is.
Where would they go? They've done horror, they've done action, they've done sci-fi. What other genre could you do?
Because you can't, mine would then be do a murder mystery, but technically Hot Fuzz was that. Exactly. So.
A war movie? Could they do?
That'd be quite funny.
A western?
Yeah.
Kind of, Edgar Wright's already done one, but.
They could do war.
Yeah.
There's them 2 in the war.
Maybe.
Don't know.
We'll have to see what they come up with.
Yeah, they might bring something out. Depends how struggled they are for work.
Well.
But. Yeah, I personally think out of those 3, Hot Fuzz will stay my favourite, but out of the 3 I will rewatch. If someone said to me, what one do you want to watch out of the 3, I think World's End, just because I think every time I watch it I understand it that little bit more.
For me, yeah. I think I love World's End. I've said it before. I think it's
an
underrated movie. Deserves more love. But all 3 of them are great British films.
Yeah.
Made by an individual director, and Simon Pegg is a great writer as well together. I think they really work well together. So Edgar Wright seems to do a lot of the more filmy in-jokes, he's more the structure kind of guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas Simon Pegg kind of brings that bit of humanity, but they probably bring a bit of each
other's.
Other. So they don't. It's one of those things. Who knows who does the most? But yeah, great British movies. The last. What I said, yeah.
It's nearly 2 decades.
17 years? Wow. Makes me feel old. I need to get on it. Edgar Wright was 14 making movies and stuff.
No, you need to start now.
Need to start now.
But anyway.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. We've gone on for quite a long time, about an hour. I hope you liked it. It was a bit different than normal. We just chatted it. I don't know. I like these kind of looser things.
I think so. We always try and think, right, what's the plan? We do have a small plan because we do things. We like to do things in order.
Yeah.
I think that's how our podcasts go. But then we're quite loose about the topics involved in those.
You can't just script everything. I think, and it might be hard on the listener. I don't know when we're talking crap for 20 minutes, going off on that, and I could talk about them all day.
100%.
I don't think people would put up with that.
Not all day.
No. No, not on like.
Instead, you got an hour.
15-hour video.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for being joined by my guest.
Well, thanks for having me, Pegg.
Please stop in again.
I will.
Maybe we'll do some other ones soon. Back to Octopoddy soon.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah, we're not finished there.
If, like you said earlier, if No Time to Die ever comes out.
That will be the big one.
The big one.
The
it's
review
November,
of that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. It's probably get delayed again.
They should just.
You never know. There's other films we want to talk about as well that we can talk about. But I don't think this will be the last one.
No. So, thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you see or hear, press like. If you want to hear more of our videos, hit subscribe. if you've got any comments, what's your favourite of the three?
The favourite of the three, be interesting to know.
Stick them in the comments and we'll get to them when we get a chance. And you might even get a reply from one of us.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
More likely Craig.
Probably me, because it's my channel.
It's Craig's
my
channel.
My name's above it. Craig's Film Reviews.
Exactly.
Never forget that, George.
No, I'll just come along for the ride.
Exactly. You would get, this is my place, this is my world, you just live in it. No, I don't mean that really.
No.
I appreciate all you do. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe out there.
We'll see you again.
Thanks.